That's it. Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Welcome back to the Weekly SEO. Hey, Annie, how are you doing?
Hey, everybody. I'm doing really well. Thank you so much for having me today.
The pleasure is all mine. So, in today's Weekly SEO, as you see, we have Annie Maguire, a talented conversion copywriter. It's hard to say sometimes conversion copywriter because it's something different, really different, unique. And Annie, by the way, when we search for conversion copywriter on Google, are you in the first place?
You know, that spot shifts, but I believe I'm on the first page of results.
Okay, so you need us.
Exactly.
All right, welcome everyone. I see we have like 10 people right now, but it will be increasing, I guess. So maybe I should introduce you a little bit, but after Weekly SEO introduction. So Annie helped many Fortune 500 companies, which is Samsung, and then you can say which brands, by the way, Annie, because there is a lot, like Smirnoff. Wow.
All of the brands. When you work at an agency, which I started my career in, you work on all kinds of big brands like that. So it's, you know, USA Network, HBO, L'Oreal, Diageo, including Guinness and Smirnoff and that sort of thing. All sorts of kind of businesses like that.
Yeah. So in a nutshell, you create like insightful landing pages, right? With content, of course.
Yeah, that's part of it. It's part of it. It's mostly about taking research. So, you know, researching a particular target audience or a group of customers, and then translating those insights into conversion optimized sales experiences. And that could be a website, it could be a landing page, it could be an email, it could be all different kinds of things. But those are kind of the three that I focus on.
Great, amazing. So we have Carol, which is actually from America too. So I saw a lot of client testimonials. So I just wanted to like quote this. They said you are really one of the best content copywriter, right? Is this right?
If they said it, it must be true, right?
Of course. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. All right. So maybe we can start with sharing your screen, and then you can introduce yourself because you know the best yourself.
Sure. Yeah, no problem. Let me get that screen share going. Alrighty. Can you guys see my screen?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. I'm just going to hit this presentation mode. All right. Can you still see it? Is everything looking good on your end?
Yeah,
Yep.
There's no problem.
Okay, perfect. So yes, this is me. I'm Annie Maguire. I'm a conversion copywriter. And as I just mentioned before, it's my job to just conduct customer research, collect it, analyze it, and then translate it into landing pages, websites, emails to help businesses capture and convert more leads. And yes, I have worked with many Fortune 500 companies like the ones we talked about before, but I actually prefer working with small businesses and those like lesser known companies and entrepreneurs because I think that's where you can make the biggest impact. And that's what's exciting to me versus working on, you know, the Smirnoffs and the Diageos, which are fun too, but a totally different experience. And yeah, in terms of fun facts, I used to have a food blog. I had to kind of cut back on it because I needed to actually focus on my real business, which is my conversion copywriting business. So I haven't really posted or been active for maybe 2 years or so. But I did have it for, you know, probably 4 years, 5 years. And it was more of just a hobby, but I'll show you a quick slide here with some snapshots. You can look it up. The Instagram is still around. I I think the website is no longer available because I had to stop paying for it, but it was fun while it lasted. But yeah, love to cook, love food so much, love hosting and entertaining. I love making cocktails, desserts. I just got a new standing mixer, so I'm really excited about that. But yeah, that's just a little bit about me. I have a dog that I love, and I just got married a year ago. And
wow, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, so exciting. And my husband and I just sold our apartment in New York, so we're kind of trying to figure out the next move. But yeah, that's just a little bit about me.
Amazing.
It's really like looks so delicious and so healthy too. Like
thank you. Thank you. Like the stuff that I started posting at the very end was leaning a little bit healthier, but there were definitely things in between. You know, we like to eat a balance of healthy and, you know, taste good. So we definitely like to play around in that space.
Yeah, maybe it's psychology, you know. When I saw something green, it's always comes to my mind in like, oh, so healthier. So
my mom she was very much about the greens and the quinoa growing up, so I feel like that rubbed off on me a little bit.
I guess I'm making the same joke, but I wish I were your neighbor.
Yes, I know. I'm always bringing treats over to my neighbors because, you know, when I make a bunch of cookies or something, I have to I can't eat them all, so I got to distribute them. But yeah, it's fun. It's fun. Cooking is great. All right, so we can just dive in here. Why don't you guys take it away, the team?
Yeah, for sure. So, as always, I'm here. My name is Roman Adamita. I am Director of SEO at Boost ROAS, and a part of my job is to leading and encouraging the team. So, as a fun fact, I don't have a lot, but maybe one of them is I cycle a lot, and that's it.
Hi everyone, I'm Büşra and I'm the Senior SEO Executive of Boost ROAS. I've been working here for a year now and I haven't understood how the time passed by. It was like yesterday and I love eating a lot and that's my fun fact, I guess.
And hello everyone. And can you say something? Like Maguire.
Oh no, I was just saying we'd get along great, you know, because I love to eat, or we both love food.
Okay. And my name is Adam, and I'm SEO executive at Boost ROAS agency, and almost like 8 months. And yeah, like we have really so good session in the weekly SEO, and also there's a EuroLeague final, semi-final this evening, and I'm also like that was a really good day for me, and yeah, I'm still here as every week.
Awesome. Well, great to meet you guys. I'm so glad to be connected with you. And let's dive into the content for today.
Let's go.
All right. So in terms of what I'm going to be talking about today is my simple, hopefully not too simple, but my 4-step process for naturally incorporating keywords into conversion-focused copy. And I'm also going to take you through a quick example of one of my more recent clients' landing pages that had some keywords that I wove in just to kind of show you how it works, you know, in a real life situation.
Great. So if there is any questions, you can ask Annie, by the way. Annie will answer all of them after the slides. So in my part, I will have a little bit fun with logo analysis, which is technical, but maybe I will make it a little bit funny and more understandable. So it's about crawl budget management.
And I will cover some Google's relationship with some link analysis, their relationship, how they love each other, and I will also talk about duplicate content.
And we'll dive into a bit like page speed optimization, but not for user experience or maybe like ranking factor. We are looking at for like crawl management.
And actually, as a whole, we are talking about the crawl management on e-commerce websites.
Excellent. Sounds like lots of great content.
Yep.
All right, well, I'll just start diving in here. Okay, so we're going to quickly start with my simple 4-step process for naturally incorporating keywords into conversion-focused copy. I just want to say, right off the bat that keywords and SEO they're not the focus of my business, but they are definitely something that comes along with it, right? So when I work on a landing page project, for example, a client will have keywords, not always, but sometimes they'll have keywords that need to be woven in some capacity, or even throughout an entire website in some cases. So this is, my process, but maybe other kind of conversion copywriters or other SEO experts have a different way of going about it, but this is what works for me. So I'm going to take you through it now, starting with step 1, which is to basically kind of just have all the puzzle pieces before you even get started. So what I mean by that is when you are weaving keywords into, say, a landing page or a website, it's sort of like solving a puzzle, but you need all the pieces of the puzzle before you can actually start it or even finish it, right? So for me, that means working with an SEO person or an SEO expert who can provide me with that list of keywords, which ones I should be focusing on, from a priority level. These are the top ones, these are like the kind of middle ones, these are nice to haves, where they should appear on the page. Sometimes it's about incorporating it into specific sections or headlines or areas of the page or site. And along with that, sometimes that can also mean, you need to incorporate certain keywords a certain number of times, or maybe, the number of times doesn't matter as much for other ones, but it does matter for some. So having that guidance in the very beginning is what really helps set you and me up for success, right? So you're not kind of trying to write and figure out the keywords and where they should go and how many times, that getting that out of the way at the very start is really, again, just a way to set yourself up for success. So that's step 1, just kind of getting prepared. So step 2 is very simple. You're just going to review the list of keywords before writing. So, and again, this is what works for me. You have to try what works for you, but I recommend reviewing the list of keywords, before you get started. And that includes what the keywords are, where they should be, how many times. And you're just doing this to kind of prime your subconscious, because a lot of times when you're writing, your brain is doing all different kinds of things. You're trying to, make a sentence that sounds good. You're trying to communicate your ideas. And in the back of your head, having those words that should be part of the page can be really helpful. Now, it's not about, at step 2, it's not about necessarily incorporating the keywords yet. It's really just about absorbing them into your head and kind of keeping them there. So that way, when you do start, your brain will start to look for, subconsciously, it will start to look for ways that you can incorporate them into the page. So that's step 2. Step 3 is to write your first draft. So other writers might prefer to, use the keywords first and then work backwards from there. But I have found that if you want to really create effective content that's not only valuable for the visitor and the reader, and what I mean by that is it's engaging, it's useful, it's informative, but it also won't get you penalized by Google if you don't put the keywords, you put the content before the keywords, right? So for me, I always write a first draft that's research driven. I do the research with my clients, and then I apply that to create a structure and content and copy that I know is going to resonate with the audience, or at least in theory that I believe will resonate with the audience. So that's always step 1. And then from there, I go back and start thinking about the keywords after that. So really, step 3 is just get that first draft of really great, persuasive, effective copy that is going to resonate with the reader, and then go back to the keywords after the fact. So that brings me to step 4, which is to, now that you have that first draft written, you're going to go back to your list of keywords, re-review everything, and then start looking for ways that you can incorporate the keywords in ways that feel natural. So a lot of times, people aim for the headlines, which of course, can be good from an SEO perspective and also, helpful for the person reading it. But sometimes you can't always get the keywords in there. So I recommend, looking into the subheadlines or the descriptions. Also, having bullets that are really scannable. Those can be great places to sneak in a keyword or two. Also like a visual chart that maybe has some copy either as a headline to introduce it, or copy that's within the chart that you can sneak some keywords in there. Testimonials, choosing specific testimonials that maybe use a keyword that, you don't even have to add because it's already there. Another one is FAQs, maybe whether it's a section on the page that's answering a question that maybe someone through search is, searching for, or maybe it's an actual section of FAQs that allows you to address multiple questions that contain keywords, or you can stuff the keywords into the answers. So there's a lot of different opportunities on the page to get those keywords in there. And obviously the challenge is how simple or complicated the keyword is. So the example I'm going to show you today it definitely uses, I would classify these keywords as a little bit simpler versus something that's a little bit more complicated. So for example, something like an alternative page or a comparison page, those keywords tend to be a little bit stranger. They're not as they don't sound as natural in conversation or when you're reading it. So they can be a little bit more challenging to weave in. But that's more advanced stuff. We're going to just focus on some of the more simple stuff in this example today. But really the key thing about this process is, for me, this is what I recommend, is not to prioritize the keywords over the content, because the end result isn't going to be as good. It's not going to be as persuasive. And Google might even penalize you for having content that's like stuff with keywords or too keyword focused. So that's why I recommend writing that first draft, writing the copy that's really great first, and then looking for opportunities to sneak those keywords in after the fact, which, usually is like replacing, you take a headline, for example, that you wrote in the way that was natural to you. You re-review your list, and maybe you see there's a way to say the same thing, but you use the keyword in place of that. It's a little bit of quote unquote wordsmithing in some cases, but it's not too complicated. So I'm going to show you a quick example here from one of my clients that will hopefully illustrate this a little bit better. So I'm going to pull up this example, but basically what I did is I downloaded the page, and then I underlined where all of the keywords were so you could clearly see them. But for this client, I'd followed the same process I just described to you. We conducted our research. I came up with the information architecture for the new website. And then I wrote the copy first, and then I wove the keywords in after. Now, like I said, when I through step 2 and 3, when I had those keywords in my head, I was able to subconsciously start weaving them in even before I finished my first draft. So I kind of did some of the pre-work already, but there were definitely, after I wrote that first draft, I remember going back through it and saying like, oh, I could sneak one in here, or, oh, this is a perfect place for that. I'm going to take this out and put it in there. And even when I was reviewing this for this event, I saw 1 or 2 areas on the page where I was like, oh, I missed that. I could have snuck a keyword in there. So there's always like another place you can kind of stuff them usually. So let me just pull this up and I will share it with you guys. Okay, I put it on Dropbox so that you all can, look at it on your own too after the fact, if that's helpful. So I'm just going to zoom in here and show this to you. Sometimes Dropbox is a little slow.
Yeah, because it's cloud-based.
Yeah. Especially when you have a big image too, it can take like a minute to load properly. All right, here we go. Come on.
It's coming. Yeah.
Yay.
A little
Okay.
bit more.
Excellent. Is that good?
You can. Yeah, that's good.
Okay, perfect. All right. So like I said, with this client, for me, these keywords were a little bit easier because they were sort of naturally occurring in the content anyway. But I definitely remember really kind of emphasizing certain words over and over again, more so than I would if I were just naturally writing it. But the goal, again, is to put the content first, and then where those opportunities exist to weave it in naturally, or to just even enhance the content. That's what I'm looking for when I go through this process. So the first headline, pretty simple and straightforward. This was an important one to keep really clear and simple and straightforward. So WordPress website maintenance, that was one of the keywords I wanted to hit. There were other keywords that we worked on for this project because it was more than just a single page. It was a whole website. But these were a couple of the ones that were important for this particular page. So that one was easy, right? Keep it simple, straightforward, list out what it is, who it's for. And then below that, I ended up using a subheadline or, a short description followed by some bullets. And again, that's where you can really start to sneak in those keywords. So I have looking for reliable WordPress experts to manage your site. WordPress experts was also another keyword. Look no further. A knowledgeable team can do it all from hosting and blah, I don't need to read that to you, but the bullets here, fast, reliable, knowledgeable WordPress experts, clear fixed pricing. So, we're using a lot of the same words over and over again in these particular places, of course. And while it may seem like, it could be repetitive, the thing to remember is that most people, 90% of people, in fact, are only reading the headline. So even if you end up using the same keyword again in the headline, plus in the subheadline, plus in the bullet, it doesn't matter because you need to assume that people aren't reading most of the copy anyway. And so you want to make sure that you repeat stuff regardless. So that was one example. And then below that, here's another one here. So, a headline, everything you need for a smooth running WordPress website and total peace of mind. I think that when I wrote this, I didn't even have the word WordPress. I just had the word website. And I said, oh, perfect. I can just throw the word WordPress in there and call it a day, pretty easy. Here's another one. I incorporated WordPress experts here. I think when I first wrote this, I didn't have, again, the word WordPress, but I had the word experts. So it's a really easy way for me to just throw that in there. And then let's see what some other examples here. So here's another one, WordPress maintenance service providers. That was a big one. Maybe that one I would consider like a little bit more challenging to incorporate, but it maybe wouldn't be something I would have in the headline because it's a little clunkier, maybe harder to read. You might kind of fumble over the words, but it's great for something like a subheadline, especially the end here, and then maybe even in a bullet or something. I didn't need to do it in this case, but I thought it worked great here, but hopefully you get the idea. All right, and then we've got another one here. Unlike other website maintenance services, our team, of experts are laser focused on WordPress, blah, blah, blah. But you'll see here, repeating the same stuff. Actually, this one was WordPress maintenance service providers. This one was website maintenance services. So, they're slightly different, but kind of the same concept, right? Okay, and then here's another one in a headline. No request is too big or too small for our team of WordPress experts. You got to keep hammering it home, sneak those keywords in. And I think that was everything for this page. I believe there might have been maybe one other keyword that I'm forgetting that was here. I think it might have had to do with UK. Yeah, like UK-based businesses. That might have been one too. I can't remember off the top of my head, but those examples, these are definitely some of them. So hopefully that, shows you a little bit into my process, how I think about doing it, and maybe even give you some ideas for how you can do it for your own landing page, website, or whatever it is that you're working on.
Amazing. Really very, very useful tricks. I heard you mention it twice about Google might penalize your page. And it shocked me because I didn't know you know something about SEO, what SEO is about, but the guidelines of Google, right? So a small question here, like how many information about SEO, or while you're writing content, what's the best practices to not penalize that page? For example, keyword stuffing is one of them. It's not good.
Yes, absolutely. I think keyword stuffing, of course, as you just said, not so good. But I think the main thing is just writing content that is first and foremost useful, informative, educational, whatever, for the audience. That's what Google wants you to do. That's what the audience wants you to do. So I think that just taking that approach is, that's going to help you right off the bat. And then I also think another thing too is if the keywords don't work, don't force them, because it's not going to, the content isn't going to, it's not going to read well. It's not going to be helpful to the audience. And if that's the case, Google may penalize you for that too. So I always, whenever I work with clients and they give me this list of keywords I need to weave in, I do my best to weave in, let's say like 75% of them. Maybe sometimes we can get up higher, but I always tell them, you know, we're reaching that point where the content is going to start to suffer and you're going to sacrifice the content for the keywords if I try to stuff this in 2 more times, or if I try to hit every single word on this list, it's going to start to feel contrived and, you know, obvious, right?
That's why I'm not forcing any copywriter right now with so detailed keywords. That's why I'm always choosing my keywords before sending to a copywriter, because it's so hard to write something about them. If they misfits, the total process is pointless, I guess, just like you said.
Exactly. Yeah, it can backfire, and then it doesn't really get you what you want. It doesn't help you achieve anything. Like, just for example, when I was writing the content for my own website, I'm not an SEO expert. I didn't have a person to give me the keywords that I needed. I just put together content that I knew or thought would be helpful for my target audience, you know, based on what I know about my own customers. And, you know, I think I did like some very light SEO. Like I looked up, okay, here's what people are searching for, say for conversion copywriting, and they're also searching for these terms. Okay, if I can weave those in naturally in, you know, the meta description or throughout the page in again, natural ways, great. But if not, I'm not going to push it, because it's not about the keywords. It's about creating really effective, helpful, informative content first and foremost.
So actually, I have another question related to seasonal content. So in most of the companies around me don't believe that seasonal content is worth to invest in. What do you think about it? Is it effective? Do you have any strategies or suggestion for that?
So when you say seasonal content, do you mean something like Black Friday tips or something like that?
Black Friday tips or holiday seasons, for example, Christmas season or the Valentine's Day.
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I to be honest, I don't know the answer to the question, but if I had to guess, I feel like, you know, just because something is seasonal, it happens every year, right? So I would assume, as, you know, a marketer, that if people are searching for Valentine's Day in 2018, they're still going to be searching for it in 2021 and beyond. You know, like it's not going to change. There's a reason it's seasonal, it's recurring. So I would say that, again, I'm not an expert, but just based on logical, you know, thinking, I would say that it's probably something that's at least worthwhile, or even something to test.
Yeah, I think the same thing. What about you, Roma?
All right, so I guess it was really clear, Annie, because no one of attendees has a question. Everyone said hi, hey Annie, and really welcome to the Weekly SEO. Thank you very much for your contribution, really.
I have a question also, Roma. I interrupted you. I'm sorry. Like really, I'm thinking about that. Like, you know, you made like consultation. Lots of you say that they are Fortune 500 companies, yeah. And sometimes we are giving feedback the brands, and sometimes they can say you or reply you like, okay, that's okay, and you made this analysis and this report is cool, but my brand communication is not this way, and I can't accept it, or I can update my website in this way. And did you like encounter any company like that, like to not accept your feedbacks?
That's a great question. I mean, you know, with every project, there's always push and pull with the client. You know, there's some clients who are totally open and they accept what I'm saying or the things I'm suggesting. And there's other clients who, maybe have more of a strong opinion, or they want to work in a more collaborative fashion. So it really just depends on the client. I mean, I think when it comes to, like, say, a Fortune 500 company, those companies definitely tend to have more stakeholders, opinions, feedback, all that. So it tends to be, more of a balance between what I'm recommending and what they want, which, doesn't necessarily always match up with best practices or what their customers want. But when you have a brand that's that big and with those many people, involved, it can get a little tricky. That's kind of one of the reasons I don't like to work with those companies, just because there's a lot of red tape. It's very, things take longer to get approved or to move forward. There's lots of, rounds of feedback. So those aren't so much for me. But I find that when I work with smaller businesses, it tends to be more of a collaborative process where I make a suggestion, they, accept it, or maybe we work together to come up with something that works more in line with what they're envisioning too. But yeah, I think it just depends based on the type of business and the type of person.
Oh, thank you. Like, that's the answer what I want to hear. Really, that's so clear. Thank you.
Of course.
All right. So, Annie, what's the best way to contact and collaborate with you?
Yeah, great question. You can reach out to me in 3 different ways. The first is email. That's probably the best because I'm constantly checking my email because I'm always in communication with my clients. So Annie1Maguire@gmail.com is my email address. You can find it online. You can find it on my website, on LinkedIn. But if email doesn't work, you can always contact me through my website. There's a form, and or you can send me a message through LinkedIn. So either of those options work.
Great. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm just going to hand over the screen share to you.
Mm-hmm. All right. I will share mine. Now, here's a deck. So we covered like how to do content, how to make content really good, what's the best steps we learned from Annie. Now we are going to have a little bit fun and with log analysis, because technical part of the website is the most important thing. I just say that. Maybe not everyone will accept that, but without making your website clear to Google, your technical part, write any content you want, the best landing page, make the best landing page. But if your website is really, for example, slow, or your server is broken, then Google will never give you the best rank. So I want just to ask you a question, and of course, Annie, if you want to guess, I don't know if you have any, I don't know how to say, maybe experience with that, but I'm gonna ask, what do you think is 304 not modified status code for the websites?
What do I think that term means?
Yeah, maybe. Just guess anything.
Okay,
it can be anything.
Okay, not modified. Let's see. Not modified.
I have a guess.
Yeah, nothing comes to mind. I could make something up, but I'd rather hear your guess. It sounds better.
Is it a new Star Wars Android model?
Maybe. That's a random guessing. All right. Adam, what do you think?
Like, as the technical part, it comes to like, it can be like kind of status code, but I'm not sure.
It's status code, actually. I
Really?
gave the spoiler in the first place. All right. So I don't know if anyone knows that, but it's something really important, especially for the website. So for the big websites. So by using 304 status code for some pages on the website which is not updated. For example, you have a page, a product page, which will never be updated. For example, your product is out of stock. There will never be a update on the stock. Then you can say Google, this page is 304. It means that there is no update. We still don't have stock for this product. So with this 304 status code, you can save your crawl budget, because Google will know that there is no update, there is no new content, there is no new stock or something else. So in that way, if you are a big website, you can use that for any particular pages, not just for out of the stock. So by the way, you can check them on Screaming Frog Log Analyzer. I just give one example tool, but there is a lot of tools, Deepcrawl, Botify, etc. tools. So you can use whichever you want, but I use this one. So for log analyzers, it's really great. But do anyone has a question about this? Because it's a really technical thing.
So
No.
So we are talking about crawl budget management on e-commerce, but would you suggest using it in other sectors?
Yeah. Of course, if I don't know, if you are travel website, for example, Trivago or Booking.com, maybe there you can use too, but it depends what kind of topic do you have, which is not updating.
Yeah, but they are also kind of e-commerce, you know. Maybe like rooms is not available.
Does it depend on how many pages of the website has?
Yeah, actually there is no like a number, but if you have millions of pages, or I don't know, thousands pages, K pages, I just recommend you to use 3 or 4. But of course there is a lot of options: canonical, redirecting, remove from sitemap, etc. things. So it's technical things, but I will cover just in this part 3 or 4. So the next one, are you aware of your server situation? Because if you don't check, if you have a big website or medium-sized website, if you don't check your website's access log file, then you will never know that there is a lot of server issues. For example, you can see on Google Search Console for free, of course, but there you just can see to 1,000 URLs or 1,000 lines per Excel. So if you want to see the complete reports, you need to use your log file. It's actually on your server side. If you use Amazon, there is a section to download this log file. So you need to include some columns like user agent, IP addresses, URL, timestamp, etc. things. So you can research for that on Google, because there is a lot of resources, what kind of columns you need to have on the log file. But you need to be aware if there is 500 response code on your website, because Google is every time is trying to crawl that pages. But if there is a server issue, then Google actually can't fetch, for example, Robots.txt, because your Robots.txt file is 500 status code. So it means they will not crawl any URLs from the website if your Robots.txt has a server error. I actually mentioned that in a Weekly SEO in the past, in January 22. You can watch this from the playlist. All right. Also, with Screaming Frog Log Analyzer, you can import a URLs data and see if Google crawled them. If Google crawls the URLs you want to crawl by Google. So, for example, in this case, 2 months ago, I tried to canonicalize a big e-commerce website to canonicalize pagination pages to the first page. And I wanted to see if Google will crawl the product pages, because pagination pages was blocked, was de-indexed after canonicalizing them. By the way, canonicalizing maybe can be a little bit technical thing for any, but canonical is like a passport for humans. But for the website, it's canonical. All right. So if you import URLs to Screaming Frog Log Analyzer, you can compare if Google bots crawled these pages you wanted. So in this case, like I said, I wanted to see if Google sees all the product pages in the log file. And I crawled just for 1 week. And then I saw that Google actually sees crawl the pages. So you can use for everything you want, what kind of URLs you want, not just for find out if product pages will be crawled by Google. Then also you can have some fun, by the way, because sometimes on log file results, you can see weird things. For example, I saw a URL which have some events referred from another website. So this is X website and this is Z website. So X website gets some events, Googlebot events on this page, and the website, Z website, it's another one, and it's something like backlink, but it's really backlink. So also you can see if in your logs, Google is coming from another resource, from X resource, I don't know. You can crawl if there is any backlinks, I don't know. You can see when Google comes to this web page, and if it comes again, you can see what's the response code, and then you can find out if this IP is really Googlebot's IP, etc. things. So there is a lot of fun things that you can find on log file results. It's hard a little bit when you use Screaming Frog, when you crawl a big website, but it's fun to see, just to sit back and see how it's crawling the website. So it was my part. If there is any question, because I explained a little bit the technical things, but I can also explain more simpler. I don't know. Is there any question?
Right now there is not actually, but you can ask. Feel free to ask
myself.
No, not you. I'm talking about our listeners. Okay.
Oh, okay.
But I have experience like this. You mentioned here, like some fun time, yeah. And for example, I was checking this log analysis of the e-commerce website, and I saw lots of hit from Googlebot to like ads.txt, and ads.txt means like if you are serving some ads on your website, you know, and sorry, and if you are serving ads on your website, and you are like giving these details in this text, and that's a problem for e-commerce because, as you know, e-commerce website is not serving any ads on their website, and that's kind of funny because you are not any ads and you have this TXT, and lots of time Google bot is coming to your website and hitting this TXT document. That's like unnecessary thing. Yeah, that was my some not enjoyable fun time of my log analysis.
It was a contribution. So, by the way, Annie, I remember that Annie have a meeting at this time, so I can't force you to stay. So, thank you very much for your contributions, and it was a pleasure to having you in the Weekly SEO stage.
Yes,
Exactly.
thank you guys so much for having me. I really appreciate it, and thank you all for showing up and commenting. It's great to be here today, and really appreciate being a part of it.
Talk later. Bye bye. Thank you
All
very
right,
much
bye
again.
everybody.
Thank you a lot.
By the way, Roman, you have a question.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Of course. Ask me.
I'm asking it. Are you ready? Okay, Michael Weber asks you
I
that.
see that.
Have you done a reverse IP check for Googlebot IPs in log analysis?
Oh yeah, still no, but I want to try John Mueller's method because John Mueller has a method which is shared on johnmu.com, and I wanted to try this on terminal, but I still have to create time for that. So yeah, it's really important. Something I guess it's the most important thing when you crawl the log file, because you need to know like it's really Google bot or it's a fake bot. So if you ask about this, Michael, I am still trying to create a little bit of time and to analyze this part of the job. All right, that's yours.
So actually, we are talking about some crawl budget management stuff, but I really like this article, and I realized that I didn't share any links. After this live stream, I will add the link here too. This is a really good blog article by Rand Fishkin about the different types of keywords research. Of course, there are a lot of types of keyword researches, and depending on the user intent, depending on which part of your website are you planning to write that piece of content, or maybe because of ads or organic content, you need to think differently and make your research differently. That's why this was a brilliant article, and I wanted to share it with you guys. I'm gonna add the link to the deck.
Mm-hmm. By the way, SparkToro is really great tool. What do you think, guys?
I think the same, but because of the time problem, I won't go into the details.
Oh yeah, but the way I like this tool, it's like SEMrush, Ahrefs, etc. tools is giving something which almost every tool is giving. There is a small part which is different, but of course their algorithms works different from each other. It's like Yandex, Bing, and Google. But SparkToro is something like finding out your persona, to finding out your audience, because it was a luck, right? Is the correct keyword. There was, I guess, a hole because there wasn't any tool to find out this kind of insights. So I don't promote this. So by the way, they don't say to promote this, but I just find this useful. So every time when I'm finding something useful, I'm trying to share with someone. So it's free to use. You have 10 requests, like you can search for 10 queries on SparkToro or anything 10 times. It's for free every month, and it's sending email to use this tool because you have another 10 free 10 requests. All right, I am not going to the details, sorry.
So you're saying people that this is not promotional, but you're talking like it is promotional. I can see how you love that tool.
No.
So today I will talk about a little bit the link analysis part of the crawl budget management. For example, one of the problems we most of the time encounter with the